And good evening, everyone, and welcome to Carl Junction High School. Glad to be with you here tonight on the Talent Sports Network. Sammy Clapper along with Gary Meyer. Daisy Kaya is running the camera for us on MonettWebTV.com. And we've got high school wrestling here tonight. The Monett Cubs on the road in a double duel against Rogersville and Carl Junction. And first up for the Cubs, they will be taking on the visitors from Logan Rogersville. The Cubs are 4-1 in dual competition coming into tonight's action. And we are getting underway at 1:13. Joel Barrientos going up against Brock Carter. Barrientos, a sophomore for the Cubs, and he jumps out to an early 2-0 lead as we jump right into this varsity match between Rogersville and Monett. Rogersville won earlier tonight over Carl Junction in their dual competition, 51-24. Of course, Carl Junction only with 6 wrestlers on the varsity roster, so a lot of open weight categories for the Bulldogs, but Rogersville did pick up the victory, and now we're into the competition against Monett. And an early 2-0 lead again, starting at 1:13 here for the Cubs. Joel Barrientos with the advantage over Brock Carter.
Nice little snap down to a go behind there for Joel to get the takedown. But tried to get there, but they ran out of bounds. So we get a restart back in the middle. And Joel back on top.
Nearly caught us off guard there. We were hoping that they would have a little break in between the JV matches and the varsity matches, and at one point we had talked about with the coaches that they were going to have 8 or 10 JV matches. Well, they ended up having only 6 and now jumped right into the varsity competition. But we are glad to be with you here this evening. Again, Monett taking on Logan Rogersville in the first varsity match, and then the Cubs will go up against the Carl Junction Bulldogs, the host of this double duel, coming up later this evening.
Joel to the wing, gets a little snap back. Good position he wants to be, gets his hands locked under here, tripod up, look for the fall here. A little bit too far over, but he's got it pretty tight, so, and there's a lot of time to work on this, and gets the fall.
So 46 seconds left to go in the first period, and Barrientos gets an early victory for Monett as he wins by pin. So the Cubs jump out to a 6-0 advantage. I'm not sure whether they already went through. Cubs are open tonight at 106, so Rogersville will get a forfeit to that weight category, but I think they may have started right at 113.
Yeah, I think we started at 13.
So now we move to 120. Angel Rabadon, a sophomore, going up against Isaiah Smythe. Smythe lost his match earlier tonight to Carl Junction, so going up against Rabadon here. And Angel Rabadon, one of the Cubs wrestlers that have been battling some injuries and battling weight, but he was able to get certified tonight, so he's wrestling at 120.
Yeah, it's good to see Angel get down there and get down to 120. Finally. So it's kind of a little bit of a struggle for him because he'd been dinged up a little bit and hard for him to get workouts in and everything. But now he got down there and so be certified and be a little bit better for him down at 120.
.122 left to go here in the first period.
That's a takedown for 2 for Angel.
We got a 2-point lead. So Rabadon takes an early 2-point advantage.
Give up a reversal. Here we go. A little out of position. It just gave 1 escape, so we'll go back neutral position with Angel with a 2-1 lead.
Cubs with a 6-0 lead in the team points after a win by pin for Barrientos to get things started tonight here against Rogersville.
Angel's a really good defensive wrestler. He needs to work on his offense a little bit, but defensively he's really tough and in neutral position. A little stuff here, and that's how he got his first takedown, was off defense of another shot. So kind of in the front head position here. Got to get his right arm back a little bit.
Down to 40 seconds left to go here in the opening period, and Rabadon with a 2-1 lead over Isaiah Smythe.
A lot of hands to the head there by Smythe.
Down to 15 seconds now here in the first period. And we're down to 5. So the first period is going to come to a close here. Wrestling at 120 pounds. Rabadon with a 2-1 lead over Smythe as we go to period number 2. Cubs again leading 6-0.
Cubs have choice in this match, so Angel's going to take down position. Try to work to his feet, get another escape. And Smythe's going to go ahead and cut him, give him the escape, start back in neutral position. So we'll be at a Be the 3-1 when it gets started here.
3-1 advantage now for Ramadan. Another one of the young wrestlers for the Cubs, only a sophomore.
And Angel's relatively new to wrestling. He started in middle school, so he started a 7th grader. So not really experienced. He's got a lot of really good physical skills. He's quick. He's a strong kid. He need to get some of his technique cleaned up, and he's going to be pretty good.
Talked about last week in the home match against Republic and McDonald County. Of course, 6 sophomores, 10 freshmen on the roster, so a lot of youth for Coach Bradley. Cubs coached by Darryl Bradley, assisted by Ben Hohensee and Dakota Greenhaw. Cubs split their JV matches against Rogersville, winning 3 and dropping 3. We're at the varsity level right now. Winners for the Cubs on the JV level tonight, Dale Slater, Josh Ball, and Dalton Grant.
Another shot by Smythe, another down block by Angel. Gets back out of it. He really needs to look to score from that position. Get to his go behind, get to his front head, and look to score from there.
Under a minute to go here in period 2. Still a 3-1 lead for Angel Ramadan for the Cubs. As we mentioned, the Cubs 4-1 in duels coming into tonight's action with victories over Branson, Diamond, Webb City, and McDonald County. Their loss coming to Republic. Cubs competing last weekend in their own tournament, finished 4th in that 10-team field. We're down to 25 seconds now left here in period 2. Still 3-1, Ramadan with the lead.
Angel had a couple of opportunities to score. Both guys had some kind of opportunities to score here, but neither of them been able to finish. There's a nice deep shot by Smythe. He's going to get the 2 and tie this up with short time left in the second period.
Under 5 seconds to go now here in the second. And the second period comes to a close, and it's tied 3-3 as we head to the third.
And Smythe's going to have a little bit of advantage here. It's going to be his choice, and he's going to choose neutral. It's kind of an unusual choice there. Usually we want to go down and get away, get an escape. That's a lot easier to score than a takedown. But since he just got a takedown, feeling pretty good about himself, I think. Angel's got to get his offense going.
We head to the third period at 1:20, all tied up 3-3. Coming up next, 126, Sean Jastel and Caleb Swearingen.
Nice heavy hands by Smythe, getting Angel off balance. Angel's got to be careful in this position. He gave up this score off off that nice double off of a head snap earlier. So he's really got it. He needs to initiate a little bit of offense of his own right here and get Smythe off balance a little bit instead of letting him come at him.
Closing in on the midway point here of the third period. About a minute and 10 seconds left. Wrestling at 120. Tied 3 points apiece. Ramadan readjusts the headgear. Some time coming off the clock. We're down to 50 seconds now left here in the match.
Angel gets his hips down. He's stuffed that. He's got to get to his offense right back off that. He's got to get to a reshot or something off that. Instead of just stuffing it, he's got to get down and finish something.
30 seconds now left. Still tied at 3. And we've got a stoppage with 26 seconds left.
Might have some blood time here.
So Ramadan will head over to the sidelines, be attended to by the training staff here at Carl Junction. Cubs going up against Rogersville here in the first duel of the night, and then they will finish out the evening against Carl Junction. Carl Junction with just 6 varsity wrestlers, so that match against the Bulldogs will not take too long. Carl Junction, though, winning earlier tonight in the contested matches as they took, I believe it was
five of the 6.
Well, the one was a forfeit, so yeah, the contested matches, they won 4 of the 5, yeah. Because they picked up wins at 120, 126, 152, and 182. And then the forfeit came at the heavyweight. Rogersville does not have a heavyweight wrestler tonight. Angel Rabadon being attended to with the blood stoppage. 3-3 is our score here at 120 with 26 seconds left to go. They've got period 2, but it should be 3.
Yeah, we're in the third period. So.
Cubs lead at 6-0 over the Wildcats. Joel Barrientos winning by pin in his match at 113. Now we're ready to go again. Both wrestlers got a chance to rest a little bit, so we'll see what kind of action we get here with 26 seconds remaining.
Yeah, with 26 in the tied match, you know, might see something right off the whistle here. So Angel needs to have his head and hands down and be ready for a shot right off the whistle. Smite going down their front head, they go out of bounds. 16 seconds left. Angel needs to get his hands and feet going a little bit here.
Down to 10 seconds left to go in the match. Still tied at 3. Are we looking at an overtime here at 120? Down to 5 seconds.
That's a elbow pass by Angel. He's got to follow it up with a shot.
And that's what we're going to get. We're going to get overtime here at 120 pounds. We had a couple of matches earlier that came close to going to overtime, but nothing ever actually did. But 3-3 our score here at 120.
So we'll go 1 minute here, and first score wins. So a sudden death in this first overtime period. There, Angel get his hands going a little bit there. Got Smith off balance. That was good. There's that double. It's his front head, needs a bouncing down, get to his go behind.
Still 40 seconds left to go here in the first overtime, and 3-3 the score. Rabadon looking to get some points here and end this. 35 seconds.
He needs to keep him in bounds and snap him down.
And they clear the circle. 30 seconds on the clock. Again, we're in overtime, tied 3-3. Down to 15 seconds. Down to 10 seconds.
Up to the front head. He can't give up that position there.
And they clear the ring again. 6 seconds left.
Angel hits a shot and gets the takedown.
And 2 points to Rabadon. And the wrestlers continue, but
with 1.6 seconds left, finally gets a shot in there, and hadn't done anything offensively the whole match. It kind of surprised him a little bit. Gets a nice double leg to get the win.
So Rabadon gets the victory, 5-3. Earns 3 points for the Cubs, and they now lead 9-0 over the Wildcats.
Guess it just matters if you get it at the right time.
Yeah.
He didn't do much offensively pretty much the whole match there. All this real defensive, and then he's lulling him to sleep there.
Less than 2 seconds to go in overtime, and he gets the 2-point takedown and wins 5-3. We move on to 126. Sean Jastel, senior for the Cubs, going up against Caleb Swearingen for the Wildcats. Caleb lost his match earlier tonight to Rogersville, and Jastel jumps out to an early 2-0 lead here with a nice move, and already looking for a pin here 15 seconds into the first period. And he gets it. So 6 more points awarded to Monett. Their lead goes to 15-0 now over Rogersville, and Sean Jastel making quick work of that one against Caleb Swearingen.
Nice little single leg to an arm bundle, and it was over.
132 will be next. Onis Howard, junior for the Cubs, going up against James Miles from Rogersville.
Onis had a good tournament on Saturday at the Monett tournament, but finished second, got to the finals. He just recently dropped from 138 down to 132, which is a little help for him. He was a little outsized at 38, and he's kind of been dinged up with some injuries too, kind of same position. It's hard to get some workouts in, and I was able to get a little healthier and get down there. Nice shot by Rogersville, a little neck wrench to take down for Onis.
So Howard, 2-0 advantage here, just 30 seconds into the first period.
It's a little bit of trouble there, and kind of came with that neck wrench and kept his feet moving after he did it, and ended up finishing for a takedown.
Those first couple of duels, a lot of Cubs wrestlers were wrestling outside their weight categories because of injuries and for guys that weren't at right weight yet, but now things are starting to fall a little bit into better place now.
Yeah, we're getting in better shape. We kind of talk about it, getting a little bit better shape. Guys are getting the weight where they be. We're healing up a little bit. We had a lot of injuries. Still got a couple guys a little bit dinged up, but it's not too bad. Nice little roll from tilt for Onus.
Still a minute to go here in the first period. Onus Howard with the 2-0 lead.
Gets 2 near fall out of that.
So a 4-0 advantage now for Howard. Wrestling at 132. Onus Howard against James Miles. Monett leads at 15-0 over Rogersville in the team points.
Just tilted him right up, and he had a hold of Onus's wrist, and he just kind of threw it over his head and got a little cheap tilt out of it. He got 2 more near fall points and move it out to 6-0. It really wasn't a move there. He just kind of threw it over his head and rotated him around.
We're down to 15 seconds left here in the first period.
Another little tilt.
10 seconds. Miles trying to get to the edge of the circle, but time's about to run out as well. Down to 3, 2, and 1. First period comes to an end, and Howard has himself a
got 2 more, so
6-0 lead.
It'll be 8-0.
Yeah, that's right, because it took them a while to post the 2. I wonder if they're going to catch up here.
Yeah, because he got another little tilt there at the very end.
There it goes. Now they've got it 8-0, so Howard's already got it to a major after the first period. Wrestling at 132, Onus Howard for the Cubs against James Miles from Rogersville. It's an 8-0 advantage for Howard as we start the second period.
Howard takes down. Rogersville's going to cut him, put him back neutral, so it'll be another point. So it'll be 9-0 to start this period. And Miles had a nice shot in the first period that Onus countered for a takedown, but it was a nice shot to start with, and it was really close to finishing. And a nice counter by Onus to turn into his own takedown. But maybe that's why he decided to go neutral here. But Onus gets the takedown and take him right to his back. Not sure he's going to get a near fall out of that. Moves it out to, should be 11-0.
Should be 11, yeah. They're readjusting on the scoreboard.
Yeah, if we get to a 15-point difference, it'll be a tech fall, which will be 5 team points. So, and as easy as he's got to his tilts, he can just get right back to his tilts and start racking up some points. I still don't have a score right on the scoreboard.
Still a minute to go here in the second period. It's an 11-0 lead for Howard.
And so it runs that over the other way.
Now he may end it right here. He's trying, he's working on it, but Miles is able to fight off the first one.
He's a little high on it, but he kind of settled back a little bit there. Just going to get 3 out of it, so that's going to make it 14-0.
So one more point and he gets that tech fall. Still 35 seconds left here in the second. Hopefully the official's got the score in his head, because it's still wrong on the scoreboard.
Yeah, it is. There's 2. That should be the tech fall.
We've still got 15 seconds left here in the period. And they do award the 2 points. And now Howard working on a pin, and he gets the pin anyway, so he gets the extra point right there. So he's working on a 5-point swing, and he gets 6 because he gets the pin with 5 seconds left to go.
Good job by Aaron of transitioning throughout the match and getting to his tilts, and then finally getting to the pin. That was a nice job.
So 21-0 now. Monett with the lead over Rogersville as Onus Howard gets a win by fall at 132. We move to 138. Brody Crawford, junior for the Cubs, going up against Jamison Reeves. Reeves was the only winner for Rogersville in the contested matches against Carl Junction. Of course, they only wrestled 5 matches because of the short roster for the Bulldogs, but Reeves did get a decision as he won 8-6.
Nice throw by Brody there. Brody's another one that just dropped the weight class, dropped from 45 down to 38 with everybody else kind of moving around. And again, had a bunch of injuries, started the season with a broken foot from football and hurt something else. And so just kind of getting down there and had a little shot and it came up and countered it. Then a nice throw to the back for 5 points to start the match.
So 5-0, Crawford out in front here. Minute 25 left to go, first period. Wrestling at 138.
Being a 138 is going to help Brody a lot. Brody's a really strong wrestler, but even at that, at 45, he was a little overpowered at times, and so being 38 is going to be a big help for him. Nice little tilt.
Just getting some more points added on to his 5-0 lead.
It's 3 more near fall and then gives up a 1-point escape, so it's 8-1 now.
Still 45 seconds left here in the first.
Nice little shot off of the shot for 2.
That'll make it 10-1, Crawford with the lead. Still 30 seconds left here in the first period. Brody Crawford racking up a lot of points here in period number 1.
On that same little chicken wing tilt.
He's got a count going again, too, and we still got 16 seconds left in the period.
Not anything you're going to pin him with there, but now he can pin off this.
And he gets over on top, and he's still got 8 seconds. Can he hold it? 6 seconds. 4 seconds. Crawford trying to end it right here. And Reeves is able to fight his way to the end of the first period. But 13-1, Crawford's lead as we head to period 2.
Nice transition by Brody there at the end. It went from that tilt to the transition, climbed on top and went to that half to try and get the fall. It was a good transition.
So here we go, getting close to a tech fall again as we start second period. Crawford leading 13-1 over Reeves.
Reeves chose neutral to start the second period. So
you got to get to a 15-point lead for a tech fall. And the way Brody Crawford's been piling up the points, it's likely he might be able to do that.
This looks like a stalemate position. Less one of them lets go. Brody might, I thought he was going to get it finished there. He might get it finished now. And get his head out, and it'll be 2.
And there's the 2 points, so it's 15-1. Still a minute 14 left to go here in the second period.
And go for that tilt again. Really needs to get something he can get the fall, because it's going to be a tech fall with the near fall points here.
Yep, just needs the 1 point to get it to a tech fall. Makes the 3rd time he's been able to use this move successfully, too, and get some near fall points.
He's done a good job with that little tilt there.
Reeves having trouble right now. Is able to.
They were out of bounds, so.
He got an arm loose, so.
So it's a 1-point escape, so it makes it 15-2. So.
Still a 13-point lead with 39 seconds left here in the second.
Takedown finishes this. Good job running his feet and circling to that. So
and there it is. 17-2, tech fall with 32.5 seconds left to go in the second period. Of course, once you reach that 15-point lead, the match is over. So Brody gets 5 points for the Cubs, and the lead for Monett goes to 26-0. We move to 145. Jordan Withnell, freshman for Monett, going up against Noah Cogdill. Cogdill lost his match to Carl Junction earlier tonight, and Withnell, one of those freshmen that has fought his way into the starting rotation.
Yeah, nice little snap down go behind there. Little spot opened up for him there with, talked about Brody and Aaron moving down in weights, and little spot opened up for him and gives us a chance to jump in the starting lineup and show what he can do here. Gets off a good start there.
Yeah, gets off to an early 2-0 lead, which that's something the Cubs have been doing very well this year, is getting out to those early lead in matches.
Yeah, and work a lot on takedowns. So if you can get there and get that first takedown, get out to a lead, and then be tough on top, and grind on them, and wear them out a little bit, can really turn that match into your favor.
Yeah, because you think it would have just a little bit of a psychological effect, because even though there's still a lot of wrestling that can take place, the guy that is suddenly behind 2-0, he starts thinking about that. Oh no, now I've got to think about what I got to do to try to get those 2 points back.
Exactly, and I say especially if you can, get on top and grind on the guy, and just make him work, not let him away. You can really put some doubt in somebody's mind there.
Yeah, because you never know. They might try something that they maybe shouldn't try and get themselves into a worse spot, and the next thing you know, it's over.
Yep.
49 seconds left here in the first period, and Withnell with a 2-0 lead.
Just a good job of riding him here. Needs to get that wrist and work that. It's got to keep going. There you go. So forward pressure. Keep forward pressure.
Under 30 seconds left here in the first period.
Cradle. I didn't quite get it.
Down to 15 seconds.
Crossface cradle again.
And we're down to 5. Looks like the first period's going to close out with Withnell leading 2-0. And we'll move to the second at 1:45.
Good period by Jordan there, getting that real quick snap down to go behind to start off, and then riding tough on top. Going down with an opportunity to extend his lead with an escape. Trying to work to his feet. A little bit of movement right off the whistle. Really got to set over the top of that ankle, get it back.
Early on here in the second period at 1:45, Jordan Withnell for the Cubs leading 2-0 over Cogdill, Noah Cogdill from Rogersville. Cubs lead the team points 26-0 over the Wildcats, as Monett have won all 5 matches that have been wrestled up to this point.
Got up. He's good. Got the escape, extended his lead out 3-0. That escape there is important because Cogdill have a choice second period. He'll probably go down, although he rode him out, so he may not. Nice little run to single leg, just kind of ran to it and got the 2 there, so extends it out to 5-0. Still struggling with the score on the scoreboard there.
Under a minute to go now here in the second period. Now they've got it straightened out. 5-0 lead for Withnell.
He's doing a good job of riding here. He just needs to try to get a little more where he can get a turn out of it. He's getting to that wrist. He really needs to commit to that and get out to the side and get that on his back or get something off of it. I was just trying to clam it up a lot. Now he's got the half. He's going to get a turn out of this.
And we've got 23 seconds left here, too. So he's got some time to try and fight for that pin. We're still got 15 seconds left.
That was pretty tight right now. He adjusted nice. That's it.
And that's it. So Withnell wins by pin. Another fall for the Cubs. 6 more points to their total. It's now 32-0. Next up, 152, Desmond Hill, a junior from Monett, going up against Isaac Swearingen.
Desmond's another one. Had a good tournament at Monett. He finished second and wrestled really well on last Saturday.
Swearingen didn't wrestle against CJ. They were open at 152, so he got a win by forfeit. So the first match of the night for both of these wrestlers here at 152.
Desmond has really good hips, and it's tough to get those takedowns in. He's so strong with hips. And circles behind him, gets his 2 takedown.
So another early 2-0 advantage for a Cubs wrestler as Desmond Hill goes out in front.
Desmond's such a goer. Kind of gets himself out of position, as we kind of saw there at times, but man, he really goes.
Yeah, he was worried so much about keeping forward, he almost went right over the top.
Yeah, he really goes. He puts out a lot of effort out there. It's good. And again, another one not very experienced, starting 7th grade, and kind of figuring out a few things. But he's strong and is a goer. So I love those guys that just get out there and get after it and scrap and go. And he'll definitely do that.
Under a minute left here in the first period. Desmond Hill leading 2-0 over Isaac Swearingen.
good job of keeping him flat and keeping that forward pressure and not letting him base up. And like kind of talked about Jordan, kind of transitioned that to a little bit of offense, a little bit better, like Jordan did there at the end. But and a lot of that's experience and understanding positioning and knowing where you're at. Like right there, if he blocks that off with his knee, he doesn't swim that out. Just little things that you kind of pick up as you get more experienced.
10 seconds left here in the first period. Still 2-0. Hill with the lead.
Trying that little tilt, kind of like that.
And the time runs out in period 1. Desmond Hill leading 2-0 over Swearingen. Wrestling at 1:52, the Cubs lead over the Wildcats 32-0 in the team points, and Desmond Hill with the 2-point lead as we start the second period.
Take down position, so opportunity to escape reversal and extend his lead.
Started at 113 against Logan Rogersville, and Rogersville only open at 285, so we're going to see a lot of wrestling still to come here against the Wildcats before this one's all done. Just about halfway through. Hill trying to get an escape, and Swearingen trying desperately to hang on to it, and he does.
Swearingen did a good job there getting him back to the mat. Desmond was in pretty good position, and Swearingen did a good job of returning him back to the mat. Does have a leg in now, so Desmond wants to put him on a hip. Tough position right there for both guys. We might end up with a stalemate. Maybe not.
Closing in on a minute to go here in the second period.
Swearingen gets both legs in. And Desmond got one out. Needs to really base up here and try to work back to his feet again.
Right at the edge of the circle. We'll see if they can keep it going, or not. We get stoppage with 41 seconds left here in the second period. Still the 2-0 lead for Hill.
That's a good break for Desmond. He's kind of put that leg in and had it tied up pretty good, so opportunity for him to get a restart back in the middle. Needs to really get to his feet right on the whistle here. Swearingen does a good job of breaking it down, getting that double flanker and breaking it down. Desmond paces back up.
.20 seconds now left here in the second.
Desmond really got to put up some effort and try to get that escape and wrestle for 1 point here. A big difference between that 2-0 lead and that 3-0 lead. Going into the next period where you know you're probably going to be on top.
And the second period does come to a close, and it remains 2-0. Desmond Hill with the lead. Got those 2 points early on, and that's where we've been stuck now. Wrestling at 1:52. Monett leading over Rogersville 32-0, and we head to the third period. Desmond Hill holding on to a 2-0 lead.
Again, Rogersville chooses neutral, but that may be Desmond's best position. You take a shot like that, and Desmond's pretty tough with his hips, so make you pay for that. It's a good opportunity to get to that takedown. He does the same thing, gets to it.
And his headgear is coming loose, but he does get the 2 points for the takedown. So a 4-0 lead now for Hill. Yeah, like you said, with the way he goes after it, to give him the opportunity to go neutral like that, that plays right into his favor.
It really does. Desmond's got just fantastic hips, and he's so hard to score on off shots because he really understands hip pressure and how to get the hips down and create that pressure and get to that go behind. And that's probably one of the things he does absolutely the best. So by them taking that, kind of worked into our favor.
Now, now trailing 4-0 though. Swearingen was going down that time, hoping to get an escape, but he doesn't. Hill's able to control him, so it remains 4-0. Desmond Hill with the lead with 1:20 left to go here in the third. Swearingen's able to work himself out of the circle, so they'll reset.
And Desmond did a good job riding him in the first period. After that takedown, he rode him out. So hopefully, you know, do the same here and ride this out for a win. And Desmond's going to cut him and go back neutral. So it makes them score 4-1 now. Another shot by Swearingen. Desmond stuffs it, gets his hips down.
He can swing around. He's still got a minute to go. He's working on it. Swearingen trying to keep you from doing it. A 4-1 lead for Desmond Hill. We're down to 45 seconds left to go in the third.
Now he's got that ankle. He's probably going to get this takedown here.
Swearingen hanging on for that, or with that right leg for dear life.
Desmond's doing a good job of stuffing the head and keeping his head buried, which is what you really want to do from here. And a stalemate.
18 seconds left to go here in the third. Hill with a 4-1 lead.
Another shot by Swearingen. Another sprawl by Hill.
And we're down to only 10 seconds.
It's probably where we're going to finish this one.
Yep, Hill took a quick peek up at the clock, and we're under 5 seconds, and he's just going to hang on and ride out the period, and Desmond Hill picks up a win. 4-1, the decision. 3 more points to the Cubs. It's now 35-0. And we will move to 160. Garrett Bradley, senior for Monett, going up against Devin Vickery. Vickery also did not wrestle against Carl Junction, won by forfeit, so getting his first match of the night.
Both guys got feelers. Garrett gets that over-under position, which he really likes. That's a front head. Runs through it. Didn't quite finish it. He was trying to hold it up a little bit to keep from running it out of bounds and score, and didn't quite get it finished.
Just underway here in the first period. 160 pounds. Garrett Bradley against Devin Vickery.
Garrett kind of likes to throw a little bit, so if he gets in this over-under position here and that guy pushes too much in, we might see a little excitement right here. There it is. Wasn't a very exciting throw. Just kind of a sag to it.
You may get him a pin here. There's still a minute to go. He does get some points. And he's still working on the fall.
It's probably going to be it. It's a tough position to be there for very long.
Still 49 seconds left here in the first period. And there it is, the fall for Bradley. That is the 5th pin for the Cubs tonight. Bradley gets 6 points for his team. It's now 41-0 in favor of Monett. And with Rogersville being open at 285, that victory right there secures the duel for him. With 1, 2, 3, 4, only 4 weight classes yet to be contested, and then Rogersville getting 6 for Monett being open at 06. So
Jordan Henson going now.
Jordan Henson at 170, a senior for the Cubs, going up against Logan Picorni. Picorni also won by forfeit against CJ.
Shot by Jordan, didn't get in there. Got right back up to his feet and got back out. It was a good job. Could set that shot up just a little bit better. Make the guy move his feet. Stuffs the shot. Kind of went over the top.
Cubs with only 4 seniors on the roster, and of course we just get to see a couple of them go back-to-back here. Garrett Bradley just picking up a win, and now Jordan Henson, another one of the seniors for the Cubs. He gets an early 2-0 advantage, gets a takedown with a little over a minute to go here in the first period.
It's a nice cross wrist and work to a tilt or jump sides and get a step through Turk out of that. there.
Still 40 seconds left in the first period, and now they get out of the circle, so they'll have to move back to the center.
Oh, nice job pulling it back and catching him off that sit out. Going to get back points. Opportunity. Not sure he's quite tight enough to get the fall. It's getting pretty close.
Yeah, he's getting down. The ref's getting down, take a look, and he gives him the pin. So another fall for the Cubs, and it's now 47-0. Yeah, that's what I was. Just a good move by Jordan Henson there.
It was a good reaction. He'd sit out and just a little snap back and getting back there, and that was really nice. Nice reaction to the sit out.
182 is up next. Ian Meyer, junior from Monett, going up against Tim Hoffman. Hoffman lost his match earlier tonight against Carl Junction.
Hoffman had the opening takedown, but ended up giving up reversal and ended up getting pinned. Got a bounce, get back in the middle, start it again.
Just underway here at 182. Ian Meyer against Tim Hoffman. Monett leading 47-0 now over Rogersville in the team points. Still got 195 and 220 to be wrestled. Rogersville's open at 285. The Cubs are open at 106.
Takedown off a single leg.
So there's another early 2-0 lead for a Cubs wrestler. Ian Meyer out in front.
Trying to keep him in bounds, looking for a little tilt. He's trying real hard to work out of bounds. Ian's trying real hard to pull him back in. Slides out a little bit, Ian pulls him back in a little bit, and he slides out a little bit, and Ian pulls him back in.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to ask you one time, too. At what point, I mean, as long as you continue to think you've got the upper hand, should you try to keep him in, or is that some point where it's not going to matter and you can just let him go and reset?
Yeah, it kind of depends how the match is going, and like there, I think he, is pretty confident that he was where he wanted to be, and so keep him in and keep that match going. Don't let him get a restart in the middle. Sometimes you may be not such a good position. You want to go ahead and get that restart. This is going to be a fall.
Yeah, he tried to roll through there, and he didn't make it all the way over, and Ian was able to stop him and get a win. Another win by pin for the Cubs. 6 more points for Monett.
So that's kind of a tactical thing, it kind of comes with experience, whether,
it's kind of how you feel, I guess.
Yeah, do I want to keep this guy in? Am I going to go ahead and let him run out so we get a restart, and it's just kind of one of those things, how good am I on top? How, is he better off the restart? But once I stop his first move, am I good? In that case, you want to keep him in. You don't give him that opportunity to get that restart and, have a good, quick first move. So it's just kind of a feel thing, and kind of thing changes, as maybe even changes how the match goes on, too.
Cubs now lead 53-0 over Rogersville, and we move to 195. Bryce Logan, another one of the seniors for the Cubs, going up against Caleb Oliver from Rogersville. Rogersville won by forfeit, did not have a match against CJ. They were open at 195, so Logan and Oliver here at 195.
Oliver had a nice little pass by it, but couldn't finish it, and has a little single leg shot, but Bryce stuffed it and was going to go behind and get 2.
So a 2-0 lead with 1:15 left to go in the first for Bryce Logan.
That's that cross fist, that 2-on-1. Going to look for a tilt, going to get a roll through tilt. Didn't quite get to where he wanted to be. Ended up getting it through anyway. No back points. You really got to kind of commit to that roll through tilt. You got to go at a 45-degree angle, not straight sideways. They'll post on you, and that'll happen like that. As a top guy, you always want to attack at 45-degree angles. Attacking at 90-degree angles is hard, so you always want to attack at 45s.
30 seconds left here in the first period. Logan leads over Oliver 2-0.
It's especially on these tilts like he's working on right now. You want to get that at 45 angles so you can work out to that hammer lock. Yeah, run into a snake and run him over. Wrestling's tight. It's going to be
10 seconds. Doesn't seem like much, but he's got him in a tight spot, and he wins with 7 seconds left to go in the first. $59-0 now. Monett extends their lead with 6 more points. And we go to our final contested match of the night at 220 pounds. Angel Villalta, a junior, going up against Noah Gann.
And again, I've said this I don't have times tonight. Angel's another one. Was wrestling at 285 for us, and
was doing fairly well at the heavyweight. He was giving up a lot of size,
but a lot of size. He was weighing about 226 or so, and so he cut down to 220 there, have an opening there, and he's going to be tough at 220. Apparently
looks like they're going to move some guys around, so they're going to go open at 220. Villalta gets the win by forfeit, and they're going to put Trevor Pruitt, sophomore for the Cubs, out there against Noah Gann. So Gann's going to move up to 285.
I think the Rogersville coach was a little confused there when Angel walked out there, because he's seen us a few times and thought we were running out at heavyweight there, and oh, he's at 220 this week.
So we thought we were going to be open at heavyweight for the Cubs, but that is not the case. Trevor Pruitt's going to get himself a match.
Gave up a takedown, had a shot that wasn't there, went to his back, and it's got a little problem.
And Gann takes an early 2-0 lead. We have wrestled 12 matches, and this is the first lead Rogersville has had in any of them. We were tied at 120 for a while, actually went into overtime, but now Pruitt with a nice move gets 2 right back.
So with the 3 near fall,
it's 7-2 advantage for Gann, and still a minute to go here in the first period. It's the most action we've seen back and forth in many of the matches tonight. Now Pruitt's working on a pin. Has he turned this one into his favor in a hurry?
Yeah, he has. That's a pretty good position for him to be in, too. That looks like a fall right there.
And there's still 35 seconds. Coach Bradley is working on the sidelines as well, trying to get the pin, and he does. What a job by Pruitt. He fell behind 5-0, trailed 7-2, and with 30 seconds left to go in the first, he gets a win by pin.
Another one of those younger guys that's kind of got an opportunity. Angel moving down a weight and got an opportunity to come in there and show what he can do, and stepped up.
Well, that makes it 71-0 in favor of Monett, and Cubs are going to be open at 06. So the Rogersville Wildcats are going to get 6 points there, and it's going to finish out 71-6. Monett with a dual win. They improved to 5-1 now in dual competition. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pins and a tech fall for the Cubs, and a win in overtime.
Wow. I was trying to think back there which wins we didn't have that weren't pins. So we had the overtime win.
Yeah, had the overtime,
and then
we had the tech, and that was it. Yeah. Oh, there was a decision. Desmond got the 4-1.
Oh, that's right. Desmond
got the 4-1 decision. Yep.
So we're gonna go back and do a couple of the JV matches.
Do some JV matches here to let the varsity Cubs kind of regroup and rest and get ready for Carl Junction. Of course, Carl Junction, as we mentioned, with only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wrestlers tonight. So match against CJ will not take too long. A lot of open categories. Very impressive dual victory for the Cubs, though, over Rogersville.
Yeah, that really was. I mean, coming in, we expected to win this. We're a little more experienced. They're pretty young and everything, but, the kids did a good job of going out and getting pins, not just, getting wins, but, going out and fighting. Had a couple matches that were a little iffy there and managed to go out and fight, even that last one, give up thing, go to your back, but fight off your back, come back and get the pin. So I like seeing that out of them. I like seeing guys go for pins, trying to get there and try to keep scoring, and get after that opponent.
So 71-6, Rogersville and Monett in the first one. And after some JV matches here, it will be the Carl Junction Bulldogs CJ, the host of the event here this evening. Cubs will be back in action this Saturday when they head down to the Branson tournament. That's always a very good tournament down there at Branson High School as well, and that'll be taking place this Saturday. Heard any about what some of the teams that'll be down there? You talked about last time some
it's funny. I
good teams usually come down from up north.
I looked it up over the weekend, and that's been a long time ago now, and I've forgotten.
You slept a couple of times.
I slept a couple of times since then, because I did look up there, and I can't even remember. I know Neosho is there. I can't even remember. Of course, I think Nixa and Ozark. I think one of the Springfield schools coming down. Glendale, maybe. I know Lee Summit was there last year, and I can't remember if I saw them on this year's roster or not. I should have printed that out and brought it with me.
Do you recognize the young man from Monett that's wrestling this JV match right now?
I do not.
I did not check the roster. Coach Bradley said he was hoping to get about 10 or 11 JV matches in tonight. They've already wrestled 6 JV matches. Cubs have won 3 and lost 3 of those JV matches against Rogersville up to this point. And they've got a 4-0 lead here in this one.
They're doing a good job of keeping on top and keeping the forward pressure. Kind of need to transition that into offense a little bit.
After the Branson tournament this Saturday, Monett will be off until next Thursday when they welcome the Seneca Indians into Monett, and we will have coverage of that one here on Monett Web TV between the Cubs and the Indians next Thursday.
That'll be a good duel. Seneca has a very good team this year.
And Cubs had a huge win down there in Seneca last year against a very good team, and I'm sure the Indians will be looking for some revenge off of that one.
I'm sure they are. We wrestled them, seen them just before that, and we turned around some losses that we took against them, and we went down that duel and turned some losses into wins and turned that duel around and actually won it pretty handily. But there was a lot of kind of swing matches, and every one of those, we managed to make go our way. So I'm sure I was a little bit surprised, and I'm sure they're looking to get back, and they've got some good. Their lower weights are very good. They got some good kids in their lower weights, and they're really strong lower up to their middle weights. So it's going to be a good challenge for the Cubs. And we have to go in and wrestle well, because they're going to come in. They always wrestle hard, and they're always pretty good. So
which one was it graduated, Rourke or Rhodes? I can't remember.
Rourke.
Yeah, I know everyone around here in his weight class is glad to see him move on.
Yeah, he's really good. He's wrestling at Mizzou this year. He's redshirting. Jesse Rhodes is back. I think he's a senior this year. Jesse is.
Yeah, he was a junior last year. Yep. 7-0 lead for the Monett wrestler. We apologize we didn't get his name when they started the match. Again, some JV matches going on here as we await the varsity competition between Monett and Carl Junction. After that Seneca match on the 21st, Cubs got a JV tournament on the 23rd in Springfield, but then varsity will be off until the following Tuesday, January the 26th, when they will be at Ozark for a double duel against the Ozark Tigers and the Central Bulldogs. And then on the 28th, just 2 days later, they head to Neosho to go up against the Wildcats. And Neosho, perennial state champion here. They've won, I think, 3 titles in the last 5 years. Is that right, or is it 3 out of the last 4?
4 out of the last 5, I think.
4 out of the last 5.
I think that's right.
Also in that match down at Neosho on the 28th, Cassville Wildcats will be having some JV wrestlers down there at Cassville High School trying to get their wrestling program rejuvenated. And they've got some JV kids. I know they've got a youth program going down there as well, so trying to get things up and running. And then you got the Seneca tournament on the 29th and 30th of January. And once that is complete, we move into February, just 2 duels against Bolivar and Joplin, both on the road, then the Oak Grove tournament. And then the next thing you know, districts on February the 12th.
I think districts are in Bolivar this year. I think that's where they're at. So
Well, the Cubs win the first duel of the night over Rogersville, 71-6, and we are awaiting the varsity competition between the Cubs and the Bulldogs. We've got some JV matches going on right now. Cubs wrestler leading here in the third period, 11-2.
Doing a pretty good job of controlling this match. He's got a couple takedowns, got a couple turns to the back. I need to get that turned off inside. It's awful high. Cover the hips a little bit better.
Just 10 seconds now left here in the third. And that's going to do it. 11-2. Monett picks up another JV win. He said Jace, so that would be the only Jace is Jason Earhart, but for some reason that just doesn't resemble him. Maybe I'm thinking wrong.
I think that's who's coming out here wrestling right now. Is that Jason?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe this is.
Yeah, I think it's Jason out there right now.
Yeah.
All these younger kids I don't know very well. They didn't wrestle for some youth, and that's how I get to know most of these kids. And if they didn't do that, then I'm kind of lost. Nice takedown. Got to finish it there.
Yeah, and unfortunately with the JV matches, unlike the varsity, they start at a certain weight and they go right through the roster. The JV matches, they kind of jump around sometimes from weight class to weight class, so you never, unless you have exactly a recognition of the kid's face or a specific lineup, which they didn't have a specific lineup set yet when we got ready to go on the air tonight. You can lose track of who's who, that's for sure.
And 1 minute in this match. Jason doing a nice job controlling it after the takedown.
He's got that early 2-0 lead, which has been kind of a trend for Cubs wrestlers here tonight, whether at the varsity level or the JV level.
Just need to do that for a few more matches. Nice job there, changing direction and getting it back down to the mat.
Down to the final 30 seconds here in the first period. Again, we're watching some junior varsity matches right now between Monett and Rogersville. Carl Junction does not have any JV wrestlers, so we'll just, when they're through with these JV matches against Rogersville, get ready for the varsity competition between the Cubs and the Bulldogs. Only 6 wrestlers for Carl Junction. 120, 126, 138, 145, 182, and 285 will be the weights that will be contested between Monett and CJ. Which means Angel Rabadon, Sean Jastel, Brody Crawford, Desmond Hill, Jordan Withnell, not Desmond Hill, Jordan Withnell, Ian Meyer, and Trevor Pruitt. We'll have some competition here before we close out the night.
Assuming they don't bounce anybody around.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see if they do some adjusting or if they stick with what's happened already here tonight. Monett winning 71-6 over Rogersville. 9 of those wins coming by pin. They also got a tech fall and a couple of decisions. Monett winning every one of the contested matches. The only match they dropped was one that was forfeited to Rogersville at 106.
So level change to a high C, but he's got to move his feet and get on the outside of that. It's kind of giving up that angle. Second round blood time.
So the training staff here at Carl Junction will attend to the wrestler and try to get the blood stopped. Clock stopped with 1:34 left to go here in the second. Jason Earhart leading 2-0. Monett's already got wins by Dale Slater, Josh Ball, Dalton Grant at the JV level. As we said, the junior varsity's got plenty of competition left here before we close out the season as well. They got a tournament at Springfield Kickapoo on the 23rd. And then they've got a Nixa JV tournament on February the 6th.
That's one thing Daryl's done here just recently, a couple years, is get some tournaments for the JV guys. We didn't used to have really anything for them unless we had duels, and they get some matches at some of the duels, or maybe we were at a tournament that they had an opening spot, so we bring varsity guy and a JV guy sometimes and let you do that. But here in the last few years, last 3 years or so, he's really made an effort to schedule and get those JV guys some tournaments on their own, so they can go out and get some matches in, get some mat time in, and gain some experience. So
yeah, and tournament format's perfect for those JV wrestlers because it gives them a lot of matches in a couple of, either in a single day or a couple of day period. They can get a lot of work in just a short period of time.
Yeah. So and it really sure aids in their development. We got to, like kind of talked about. We got a lot of young guys this year, but not a lot of those young guys. Very few of those young guys have much experience. Didn't do youth, and just kind of started middle school. So getting the opportunity to go to those JV tournaments and get some matches under the belt, and get some more mat time really aids in their development as wrestlers.
You were talking about the kid from Seneca that's up at Mizzou right now. That's one thing I need to do with Coach Bradley, maybe before we get to that match next week when we're back with you here on Monett Web TV for the Cubs and the Indians next Thursday, is check out and see how some of the wrestlers from Monett that are at college right now are doing. Chase Brennan, of course, he's up at Mizzou. Jacob Negree wrestling at the collegiate level this year as well. So it seems like I'm missing somebody too.
I think
there's one more somewhere, isn't there?
I think those are our only two right now.
Is that the only two right now?
I think those are our only two right now.
Let's see how those two young men are doing.
Yeah.
Of course, Brennan's moving into his sophomore year and Negree in his freshman year.
I know Chase is redshirting this year because he actually got in some varsity matches last year as a freshman in a couple duels. They had Alan Waters at 125. He was a multiple-time All-American, but he was kind of struggling with weight cut a little bit, and so they gave him a couple breaks here and there, and Chase got in the starting lineup a few matches last year, and so, but this year he's redshirting, so but he's getting to go to some open tournaments and do some of that stuff, so that's good.
Well, we're back to action here in this JV match. 1:24 left to go, second period. 2-0 lead for Jason Earhart for the Cubs.
Shot that same shot again, but he's shooting that high C across the body, and he's giving his opponent that angle, and it's not working out real well for him right now.
Still got a minute left to go here in the second period as well. Got 2 or 3 more JV matches before we get to the varsity competition between the Cubs and Carl Junction. And the lead for Earhart just evaporated on that last count because 3 near fall points and then 2 more awarded to the Rogersville wrestler, so he now leads 5-2.
And more blood time.
And now it's the Rogersville wrestler.
It was the first time also.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
They were just.
He just had. Jason just had some blood on him from him.
Oh, so. They were just cleaning off where
yeah.
he had got blood on. We'll also give Monett wrestlers, the varsity wrestlers, a chance to rest a little bit after their match with Rogersville. But unfortunately, rest is not just going over and sitting down and taking it easy. You gotta keep your body warm.
Yep. Yeah.
You see several of them over right now, either jumping rope or walking back and forth and trying to stay as loose as they can. Because any athlete knows after you just went through competition, once you stop and sit down, things start to stiffen up and tighten up. So you try to keep things moving a little bit the best you can.
Especially when you get old like me, things stiffen up really quick. I go in the room and roll around with some of the guys. Occasionally come back out. And boy, it's tough after that. I get home and, man, things don't want to move like they used to.
Got the blood stop on the Rogersville wrestler, and back at it here with 30 seconds left in the second period in this JV match. Wrestler from Rogersville leading 5-2 over Jason Earhart.
Rogersville's guys kind of turned this match around. Jason was kind of dominating the match up until that point, and took that kind of crossbody high C shot, got put in a cradle, and gave up 5, and kind of giving him some life here.
We got a whistle with 0.2 seconds.
I think we have blood again.
It's a 5-2 lead for the Rogersville wrestler. Yeah, I can't tell where it's coming from either. What's coming from his nose or his lip.
I think it's his nose.
It amazes me we don't have more blood stoppages in high school wrestling than we do, the way they constantly are in there close to, like they are, and then with the headgear, those hard plastic shells covering each ear to protect the ears, but those are banging on people's faces all the time. You'd think there would be blood all over the place. But
it's usually head to the nose or an elbow to the nose, usually what gets you like that. I was a few years back, it was at NCAA's, and there's a match that's right there in front of us. It's over in the corner. It was on the back side. I think it might have been a bubble match to get into being All-American. And I remember one of the guys was a Navy guy from Naval Academy, and I remember who the other guy was. And at one point, they both kind of shot and they hit heads. And the college rules are a little different as far as blood time. High school, you got 5 minutes of blood time. Once you run out of blood time, match is over, you lose. College doesn't have any limit on blood time. So anyway, they'd hit heads, and both of them got split wide open on their head. And of course, you get a cut on your head. Even a little one bleeds like crazy. And neither of these were little ones. They were split wide open up there, about the hairline on their forehead, and man, the blood was everywhere. And they wrapped around their head, and they go, and it just would soak through, and they. It was kind of funny, probably not there, but there was like blood everywhere. It looked like slaughtering hogs out on the mat or something like that. And finally, at one point, the match kept getting stopped because these guys were really bleeding, and they finally just kind of let it go. And those guys got a standing O for that. It was just a wonderful match. It's really hard wrestled, and went after there, and it was just a 1-point match. I think it was there to get in to be an All-American, and it was really a good match, but. They were both putting it all out there.
It was one of those points when real wrestling kind of took on the aspect of the theatrical wrestling like you see on WWE, because those guys are bleeding all the time.
It really did,
Of course, a lot of it's fake blood, but some of it's real.
And I think right here we ran into the blood time.
And so he had a 5-2 lead, but he cannot get his nose to stop bleeding. He's run out of time.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Kind of went over into the theatrical, but this was real, and it was really a great match. I mean, not just because of the blood, but how hard those two went and going after it. And it was one of the last matches of the day. A lot of people left. We were still there, and I'll never forget that one.
Another JV match here between Rogersville and Monett. Let's see, one more Rogersville kid loosening up over on the sidelines, so we may be getting close to getting the JV matches complete. And then it's on to the varsity competition between Monett and Carl Junction. Only 6 of those matches. Carl Junction with only 6 varsity wrestlers.
Bit of a scramble going here. Somebody needs to get a foot and elevate it and put it in the air. There we go.
Another 2-0 lead for the Monett wrestler.
Trying to see who this one is.
We were getting helped out earlier by some of the Monett fans shouting out encouragement to him. You could pick up a name every now and then, and
That's what I was trying to do here a little bit.
That's one thing we got to tip our hat to the Monett fans here tonight as well, because long trip over here to Carl Junction, and the Monett fans in their purple and gold have outnumbered, I'd say, almost CJ and Rogersville together.
I would think it'd be pretty close if you add back up both of who they have here.
Especially early on. Now here, as of late, some Carl Junction fans have started to come in, but
definitely when the matches started tonight, I think we were probably 2-1 if you even add both them together.
Still a 2-0 lead for the Monett Wrestler with 56 seconds left here in this first period of the junior varsity match.
Nice lift and return. They're getting pressure and getting broke down. That to a double leg, hips up, giving the back points. Might get the fall.
Still 26 seconds left here in this period.
That's going to be it right there.
And there it is. With 11 seconds left, he gets the pin.
Nice work there. Got it up and kind of lost his position. Turned that into a double leg and took him down right to his back.
So another junior varsity victory for the Cubs. That makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 JV wins against only 3 defeats. Another JV match here between Monett and Rogersville. Cubs won 71-6 over the varsity Wildcats, and we've got some JV matches going on between Rogersville and Monett. Rogersville wrestler gets an early 2-0 lead here. Cubs now 5-1 in dual competition. And their next dual match will be next Thursday at home against Seneca. They've got the Branson tournament, though, coming up this weekend. One-day event on Saturday down at Branson.
Good hustle there, getting the stand up and getting the escape. A nice double leg by Rogersville wrestler there.
And now they've caught up. I was going to say it should be 4-2, but now they've got the extra 2 from that early takedown for Rogersville. Viewers here on Monett Web TV tonight getting a little extended coverage as we're getting several JV matches here tonight. Only one mat here at Carl Junction, so everyone having to compete in the same spot. When you get locations where they have a couple of mats, they do the JV matches on one side, varsity on the other, and we don't always have the ability to see some of the younger wrestlers for Monett get a chance to compete, but getting the opportunity to do that here tonight.
That's a snake to half. Got a really good position with.
He's got it tied at 2, and he's got some near fall points, and he gets a pin with 8.3 seconds. So there's another one of those matches that turned in a blink of an eye, and Monett picks up another victory.
That did turn. We weren't looking very good there, and turned that around and got the pin late in the period.
So I think this is the last one. Alonzo Rueda coming in for the Cubs, going up against a competitor from Rogersville. Got a break here because I've seen Alonzo wrestle before, so I knew who he was.
I knew that was Alonzo too. So
a couple of the young men from Monett did not recognize, and so again we apologize for that. But the Monett Cubs doing a very nice job here against the Logan Rogersville JV. 7 victories and only 3 defeats so far. And now going into this final one here, Alonzo Rueda.
Got me a tough spot here.
And when you get the head and the leg both locked together, if you can hang on to that, but
he got it broke out, so
he fought his way through it.
That's a good job getting out of there, because that was not a good position at all.
Five to nothing lead for the wrestler from Rogersville, and 50 seconds left to go here in the period.
Got into that cradle again. Can you get out of it twice?
Looks like he's got a little better grip on it this time than he had last time.
Yeah, it's a little tighter.
There's still 35 seconds left, and there's the pin. So the Cubs go 7-4 in the JV matches against Logan Rogersville, and now we're going to move on to the varsity competition between Monett and CJ. They'll get a chance to loosen up just a little bit. Monett winning earlier tonight, 71-6 over Rogersville. And this varsity competition between the Cubs and the Bulldogs will not take long, with only 6 wrestlers on the varsity roster for CJ. Be wrestling at 120, 126, 138, 145, 182, and 285 if everything stays the way it did earlier tonight. Like Gary mentioned earlier, sometimes coaches, due to things beyond their control, have to shuffle lineups around a little bit, so we'll see what Coach Bradley, if he keeps his roster the same, and if the CJ coach keeps his the same as well. Do appreciate you being with us here tonight on the Talon Network and on MonettWebTV.com. Joining us here from Monett High School Wrestling. Some of the sponsors that make this coverage possible: Coast to Coast, Bruner Pharmacy, Cox Health Monett, Huffmaster Insurance, First State Bank, the Bayou Restaurant, Tyson Foods, Randall Click Shelter Insurance, Jack Henry and Associates, Monett Rental and Sales, Monett Cubs Athletic Booster Club, Community National Bank, Race Brothers Farm and Home Supply, Mays Automotive Group, Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks. We appreciate their support of our broadcasts and Monett High School Athletics. Daisy Kaya is running the camera for us tonight here on Monett Web TV. We've got another match coming next Thursday back here on MonettWebTV.com. The Cubs hosting Seneca. Just be a single dual competition. Should be a good one. It always is when the Cubs and the Indians get together. Of course, that's one thing Big 8 Conference does not have anymore, is an official wrestling competition, with so many of the Big 8 schools not even fielding teams anymore. But that traditional rivalry between the Cubs and the Indians has lasted throughout the years, and Seneca, Monett have kind of bounced around wrestling in different classifications. They no longer wrestle in the same class when you get to state, but that's always a much anticipated match every year between Monett and Seneca, and it'll be taking place next Thursday, a week from tonight, at Monett High School, and we'll have coverage here on MonettWebTV.com.
I guarantee you both teams like to beat the other two.
Yeah.
It's a pretty friendly rivalry, but
that's one thing I've noticed. There's a lot of respect between the two teams and the two programs.
I mean, they go at it on the mat, but it's there's no extracurricular stuff or anything else out there.
Yeah, there's none of that animosity stuff where you see things getting out of control and where things get kind of wild and crazy every once in a while. I mean, they wrestle as hard as anybody can wrestle, but they do it the right way.
Yeah, and I guarantee you the coach the same way. I mean, they like, Seneca's coaches like nothing better than to beat us, and I know our coaches would just love to beat Seneca. I mean, and that's kind of a goal every year. But it's still there's a lot of respect between both of them, and it's not a thing, So it's a really nice rivalry.
Well, Monett won earlier tonight over Rogersville, 71-6. They got 9 pins, victories for the Cubs in that match against the Wildcats, coming for Joel Barrientos, Sean Jastel, Onis Howard, Jordan Withnell, Desmond Hill, Garrett Bradley, Jordan Henson, Ian Meyer, Bryce Logan, and Trevor Pruitt, all winning by fall. Angel Rabadon won in overtime, 5-3. Brody Crawford got a tech fall, 17-2 in his victory, and then Desmond Hill won 4-1 by a decision. And the Cubs swept all the competed matches. The only points Rogersville was able to pick up in that match was at 106. The Cubs were open. Now it's on to the match against Carl Junction. Again, only 6 wrestlers for the Bulldogs that competed earlier tonight. We'll see if that stays the same, but Rogersville was open at 285, so Zeke Wall got a forfeit, but in the 5 matches that were contested between CJ and Rogersville, Carl Junction won 4 of them.
So some of those could be, well, may have a little tougher matches this time for the Monett wrestler than it was against Rogersville.
Usually get somewhere around 8 or 10 minutes between matches here, and the clock is down to 1:40. So we will be jumping into the varsity competition here shortly. I know against Carl Junction and Rogersville, they just started out at the lightest weight category and moved up the ladder. We'll see if they do the same here. With short rosters, a lot of times wherever you start one duel, the next one follows at the next weight category. But when you've got a short roster team like this,
we'll probably start at 120.
You think they'll start at 120?
Yeah.
That may have factored into part of the reason why they started at 113 and the other one too, just to make things evened out here, since Carl Junction's lightweight wrestler was 120. They are open at 106 and 103. Or 113, excuse me, not 103, 106 and 113.
Used to be weight class 103.
That's something that's kind of moved around over the years as well, that some of the weight breaks between classes have kind of changed every now and then.
Yeah, they have, and actually they've changed a couple times relatively recently. They've made a couple different readjustments, and, you know, a few years back, well, more than a few, but they actually added 2 weight classes, because we actually have 14 weight classes now. Back in the dark ages, when I wrestled, there were only 12 weight classes. So, and the weight classes were significantly different. I mean, you went from 185, and anything above 185 was heavyweight. So you saw some real differences in weights there.
Oh, gee, yeah.
So
yeah, I can imagine some of the lopsided difference in sizes in that.
And now, you know, the weight class for heavyweight is actually 285, but back then heavyweight is unlimited. So there was no upper boundary, and the next weight class below that was only 185. So you see some definite mismatches in body sizes there, and it's better the way they have it now. It's you know, some of those were, and so you see, you know, a 195-pound kid out there, and you got some kid that weighs 300, and they get to wrestle. That's a little tough.
Yeah, that would not be fun.
So
bumping up one weight class, what we talk about like now, I mean, that's difficult enough, and you just, most of the lighter weight are separated by 6 or 7 pounds, but when you get to the heavier weights, they'll start jumping 10, 12, 15 pounds at a time. But still, moving up one weight class is bad enough when you're giving up 80, 90, 100 pounds to a kid. That's
yeah. And you'd see some of those matches where there may be a 100-pound or more difference, and that usually doesn't bode well for the little guy there.
All right, the captains have met, and we are just about ready to get this varsity competition, the varsity duel between Monett and Carl Junction, underway. Again, Monett winning earlier tonight, 71-6 over Rogersville, and they're going to start at 120. Angel Rabadon going up against Holden Hughes. Both winning by decision in their matches earlier tonight over Rogersville. Holden Hughes won 7-0 in his victory. And Angel Rabadon had to go overtime before he picked up a 5-3 win. Going to start at 120 here between the Cubs and the Bulldogs.
I see Angel get his offense going a little earlier than he did last time. Pretty much had no offense until the overtime period, and then got the takedown to win it. But had a counter for a takedown early in the match.
Yeah, he got that 2-0 lead, and then that's just kind of where it stalled for a long, long time.
Yeah.
When he went to 3-1, I thought, well, maybe that was going to be able to secure the win, but then Rogersville wrestler got that late takedown to tie it. And
nice shot by Hughes, and Angel latched on there and defended it pretty well.
Early on here in the first period, 120, first varsity match between the Cubs and Carl Junction. Angel Rabadon against Holden Hughes.
guys are being pretty defensive here.
Hughes can't decide whether he wants to go high or low, and Rabadon's just waiting for him to make a move. Under a minute to go here in the first period.
Hughes is taking that shot early. Angel defending. Maybe seems like he's not really willing to take that shot again. Kind of took a wild one there. Angel looking for that go behind. He scored in the first match on the first period.
Down to 20 seconds left here in the first period. Wrestling at 120. Angel Rabadon against Holden Hughes. Still no points up on the board as of yet. We're down under 10 seconds left in the first period.
He's getting those double overs. And look for a little bit of a throw.
And it can kind of go from one extreme to the other, because if you've got two wrestlers that are aggressive, looking to make first moves, the action can get wild and crazy right off the bat. But then, like these two started, both looking to be more defensive-like, there can be a lot of standing around looking at each other.
Yeah.
Because you're waiting for him to make a move, he's waiting for you to make a move. And
all right, different here. Caution on the start. Angel's a little early there.
No points yet between Rabadon and Hughes. Just getting started here in the second period at 120 pounds. We'll also have matches against Carl Junction at 126, 138, 145, 182, and 285 if things stay the way they did earlier. Hughes is able to get an escape and takes a 1-0 lead.
Kind of trying to go a little bit upper body, looking for some throws here. Angel's a pretty hard guy to throw. He's looking a little more aggressive in this period. Really trying to get that double over position. And that like 3 times now. Hasn't really done much from there yet. He didn't want to be there anymore.
Still a minute to go here in the second period. 1-0 lead for Holden Hughes over Angel Rabadon.
Yeah, both guys are really, really hesitant to get to a leg attack. That's the most action we had there after we were out of bounds. Yeah, both guys kind of getting their feet moving a little bit, getting their hands going.
30 seconds left here in the second.
Angel's kind of pressing the issue a little bit more.
Down to 20 seconds now.
He's still looking for that throw out of the double overs.
Closing in on 10 seconds left in the second. Still a 1-0 lead for Hughes. And a break, and we're going to head to the third period. Holden Hughes with a 1-point lead over Rabadon as we go to the third at 120 pounds.
Angel's choice, and he'll take down. Try to get an escape to tie it up, or reversal to take the lead. Hughes gets the leg in. It's going to be a good place to waste a whole lot of time on the clock. Angel didn't get a very good move right off the whistle, and like that, the leg came out, so Angel's opportunity right there to go and kind of sit there a little bit. Needs to take those opportunities to get going. He's giving up a wing and a wrist. give up back points and fall behind here.
Still a minute 20 left to go, third period. Already trailing 1-0, and Rabadon looks like they're going to get 3 more to Hughes, so it's now 4-0 lead for the wrestler from Carl Junction. Both winners earlier tonight over Rogersville, both by decision, but Rabadon's decision coming in overtime.
He needs to get going right on the whistle here, not wait. A little better start. Got a little better position. Doesn't want that leg. Not what he wants to hang on to.
Under a minute to go here in the third.
Roll that wrist out and get to his feet right now. Don't sit. There you go.
.36 seconds left here in the third period. 4-0. Hughes with the lead.
He's going to have to get a reversal to back points or a quick escape and a takedown to back points to turn this match around. Down below 30 seconds.
Under 25 now, closing in on 20. Time getting very short now for Angel Rabadon. Down to 15 seconds. He trails 4-0. Hughes trying to hold on and get himself another victory here tonight. Stoppage with 11 seconds left.
Got a stall call there. Not sure who that was on. Either guy was doing a whole lot. He got a lot of energy there. Got up, but somebody too little, too late.
So Holden Hughes picks up the win, 4-0 at 120 pounds over Angel Rabadon. And we will move to 126. Sean Jastel against Tyler Church. Church won 7-0 by a decision earlier over his opponent from Rogersville. Jastel won by pin.
And that was a pretty quick one too. That was maybe 20 seconds into the first period. A single leg right to an arm bundle and a pin.
So it's an early 3-0 lead for CJ as they take the first match. .30 seconds gone here in the second match. 126 between Sean Jastel and Tyler Church.
A little arm drag, but it's going to be out of bounds.
Jastel, a returning state qualifier for the Cubs, finished third last year in the state, one of the seniors as well. And he gets a 2-0 lead. He gets a quick go behind with a minute left to go here in the first period.
Nice job on that snap down to go behind. That's really, really good. Really got the backhand block there and got behind. Got that wrist, try and work that out.
He's still got time here, less than 45 seconds.
He's got to that wing. Got a wing and a wrist, so it's going to be a good.
He's trying to get him turned, and Church trying to keep that leg out there to keep it from happening. But now he's got his roll, and there's 30 seconds left, and Jastel gets himself another fall. A couple of wins tonight for Sean Jastel, both by pin. So that makes it 6-3 in favor of the Cubs. They'll get 6 more points here as Carl Junction open at 132. So it is now 12-3 in favor of Monett. And we will move to 138. Brody Crawford against Brooks Naria. Naria lost his match earlier over Rogersville. Crawford won by a tech fault, 17-2.
Yeah, Brady did a great job with his tilts in that match and just putting up lots of points off of his tilts, and had a couple different takedowns and just really dominated that match from the top position. Nice little single leg by Brody. Finishing that, does for 2.
So a quick 2-0 lead for Brody Crawford. Again, we're wrestling at 138. The Cubs lead the team points 12-3.
Nice return. He gets the wing. Going for that same little tilt that he used really good in the first match.
Yeah, he was able to get a lot of points off of that.
Yeah, he's walking this one behind.
Halfway through the first period, it's a 2-0 lead for Crawford, wrestling at 138.
And there's that tilt again. It didn't quite get it. Nah, I think he needs to get that a little bit tighter, bring it back. Yeah.
And Naria does work free, so cuts Crawford's lead in half. It's 2-1. Brody Crawford with the advantage with 36 seconds left here in the first period.
Did a good job. Just tilt wasn't quite tight enough to get to finish off of it. Another nice single leg, and that's 2.
So it's 4-1 lead now for Brody Crawford.
Runs him back down.
15 points left here in the first period. Under 5 seconds left in the first. And the period closes out with Crawford leading 4-1. So we'll move to period 2 here at 138. Monett again leading the team points, 12-3. After an early victory for Carl Junction at 120, Jastel got a pin, and then Otis Howard wins by forfeit at 32, and we're at 138. Back to action here in the second period. And a quick 2 points for Brody Crawford. His lead goes to 6-1.
You're looking for that tilt again. CJ Kid's doing a pretty good job of defending that. Not doing much offensively though, just kind of try to stay off his back.
Brooks Naria, the wrestler for Carl Junction, he was the only wrestler that competed against against Rogersville that lost. Bulldogs had 4 victories and then a 5th by forfeit.
That little power half and got to get to that. Got near fall points, but official didn't award it. He's got it much deeper this time. Oh.
And now Naria is trying to go to the offensive, trailing 6-1 here with a minute to go. And they threw 2 points and 2 points.
Yeah, so we're 8-3.
So it's 8-3 now. Crawford with a 5-point lead, and now Brody Crawford back to the attack, and he gets 2 more points, and it's 10-3 in favor of the Cubs wrestler. But Naria trying to work an escape, and he can't do it. Crawford hangs on to the feet and keeps him from getting that point.
Job there, got the legs in, gonna look for that power half.
Still
Crawl
30
on top.
seconds.
He's gonna get back points out of it. Should get 2. Got a little high.
And he does get 2 to make it 12-3 in favor of Brody Crawford. 17 seconds left here in the second period.
Sure what that 1 point there was for. I'm not sure why he stopped that.
I'm not, yeah, I was just going to ask you if you knew why he stopped that one. Gave Naria a point, so it's.
I have no idea what.
Still at a major right now, 12-4 in favor of Crawford. But now Naria back to the attack. Still 2 seconds left here in the period, and Brody Crawford's able to roll out of it. And before Naria can circle and cover, I don't think he got it done in time, did he?
I don't know. I'm not sure what he.
I didn't see him award any. No. They gave him, I guess they did. They gave him the 2 near fall points, didn't they?
Yeah, it looks like they gave 2 reversal and 2 near fall.
So it's 12-8. And a match that it looked like a Monett wrestler had pretty good control in is now suddenly tightened up here. A 4-point lead for Brody Crawford as they head to the third period at 1:38.
Now, Brody's just put himself in bad position, trying to do things too that aren't there. And like on that last one, there was nothing there. He just kind of dove over the top, and I don't know what he was, trying to accomplish with that, but put himself in trouble.
So underway in the third, Crawford leading 12-8.
He just wrestles solid and doesn't have to do anything particularly fancy here, and jump back on top and take control of this match again. He's had good luck getting that power half. He's a little high on it there, but he's getting near fall points.
So 3 near fall points for Crawford, and his lead goes to 15-8. Under a minute to go here in the third.
Be a 1-point escape.
So it's a 6-point lead. 15-9, Crawford with the advantage. Down to 45 seconds left. Crawford had it close to a major there for a moment, but now it's back to a 6-point separation between he and Naria.
Get the takedown here, it'll get back to a major.
Still 30 seconds left.
That's the takedown. He's got to stay on top, finish on top.
And he does get the 2 points. So 17-9, back to a major for Brody Crawford with 15 seconds left here in the third.
Down to 10 seconds, so finish on top and keep this at a major.
I think all that effort they exuded. Well, Naria had one little more burst of energy there, but Crawford's able to fight through and keep a hold, and it's going to expire 17-9. Brody Crawford with the win. So he earns the extra point for his team. And it's 16-3. Monett with the lead now. Jordan Withnell will get a win by forfeit at 145. Or no, he will not. Jesse Kennedy's going to drop down to 145. Jesse Kennedy won earlier tonight. Won by pin. Withnell also winning by pin. So both victors earlier tonight over Rogersville.
Jordan doing a good job stuffing the single leg shots by Kennedy. Kennedy switches to a high C side and kind of caught him. Looks like he's probably going to finish this one.
2-0 advantage for Jesse Kennedy here over Jordan Withnell. Hasn't happened often tonight. Monett Cubs wrestlers falling behind early, but Kennedy was able to get out in front here at 145.
Jordan struggled a little bit in his other match, and on bottom, got away, struggled a little bit getting away, and then finally, when he did get on top, he got that half and turned over and pinned him, but it was a close match until then.
Halfway through the first period here at 145. And a 2-0 lead for the CJ wrestler.
A bit of an opportunity to get away. Got his arm caught again. Be tough to keep him in bounds.
Down to 30 seconds left here in the first.
Jordan really need to get out of bounds there and get a restart. Talked about that a little bit earlier, kind of being smart tactically.
Yeah, he's trying, and Kennedy's trying to hold him in.
For a short time now, it's not going to matter now.
Yeah, we're under 5 seconds left to go in the first period. Time expires with Kennedy leading 2-0. And we'll move to the second period.
His choice, they deferred. So Kennedy's going to take neutral. pulled him right into his leg. Didn't move his feet.
2 more points for Jesse Kennedy. Now leads 4-0 over Jordan Withnell.
Got out of that. Had his leg split along the back. Not a really good position, but
yes, they went to the mat. Yeah, that one leg kind of got twisted. That looked like it might have been a little bit painful, but he was able to get out of that. Closing in on the midway point of the second period, 4-0. Kennedy with the lead over Withnell.
Jordan's going to keep his head up.
He's able to get that wrist free. Now we see if we can do anything. 45 seconds left here in the second.
He's going to wrestle for one here. You know, that leg is not going to get it. Down to 25 seconds in the match. Needs to get a restart, get something going here. Get based up and.
Yeah, Kennedy with the 4-0 leads, content to just kind of hang out on top, and now they do clear the circle with 8 seconds left.
really need to go really hard right here for 8 seconds. Try to get at least that 1 point escape and wrestle for an escape and not a. I got to get better. Got to get a better start.
Final seconds tick away here in the second period. And they will move to the third period at 1:45. Jordan Withnell trailing Jesse Kennedy 4-0. Monett again leading in the team points 16-3. We've got this one and 2 more contested matches, 182 and 285. If things stay the way they did earlier tonight when the Cubs and the Bulldogs went up against Rogersville.
Jordan had a little better start that time and a little bit of opportunity there.
There'll be a bunch of forfeits in between as Carl Junction open at a lot weight classes.
Worked a half in, but Jordan fought it off. He's got a half on the other side with a wrist. Jordan's got to fight that one hard. Got it back down. Got that half. He doesn't want to turn into that. He's got to get away from that.
And we're down to a minute to go here in the third. Still 4-0. Kennedy with the lead. Both wrestlers have slowed considerably here in the third.
Yeah, pace has really slowed down.
And we're closing in on 30 seconds left to go in the match. Withnell trailing by 4.
Kennedy had a wing for a second, but Jordan worked it out.
And we're down to 20 seconds. Kennedy tried to pick up another win for the Bulldogs. We're down to 10 seconds. He leads at 4-0. And time is starting to run out, and it will, as Jesse Kennedy picks up his second win of the night. He won by pin over Rogersville. He wins 4-0 here over Jordan Withnell. So at 152, Desmond Hill will get a win by forfeit. By the way, 3 points to Carl Junction makes it 16-6. And then Desmond Hill gets a win by forfeit. Garrett Bradley will get a win by forfeit. 22 to 6, and then 28 to 6. Jordan Henson, I believe, will get a win by forfeit as well. She'll make it 34 to 6. And then we will move to 182. Ian Meyer, a junior for the Cubs, going up against Quentin Crow. Both won by pin earlier tonight. So it's 34 to 6 in favor of Monett as we move to 182.
Next to last match.
Yep, just one more, the heavyweight match. Assuming Zeke Wall and Trevor Pruitt stay in there what they wrestled earlier tonight. Carl Junction will be forfeiting at 95 to 20 at 06 and 13. .182, we're in the first period. 30 seconds gone in the first period. Ian Meyer for the Cubs against Quentin Crow.
Crow gets to a leg. Ian's looking to funk a little bit. A little bit of scrambling here. Ian gets to both legs. He's going to have the advantage in this one.
Still a minute to go here in the first period at 182.
And 2 takedown for Ian. He's going to get some back points out of it. It's in a Turk.
Still got 45 seconds left in the first period. Two to nothing lead for Ian Meyer. Now he's got around.
I think he had a couple back points out of that.
Got 2 more, so a 4 to nothing lead for Meyer.
Got that 2-on-1. Short time, down to 10 seconds in the period. Side's going to look for a little tilt out of this.
Ref started to put up the right hand, but time expires. 4 to nothing lead for Ian Meyer as we head to the second period. And both of these wrestlers winning by fall earlier tonight in the competition against Rogersville.
Our choice, and Ian will take down. Caution on Ian there. I think got a little early start. That's okay. You get 3 of them, so no sense taking 1 here or there. It's not a problem. Didn't quite get a good start on that one.
Second period underway here at 182. It's a 4 to nothing lead for Ian Meyer. Again, the Cubs leading in the team points, 34 to 6 over Carl Junction. Bit surprised when I got the roster for the Bulldogs, and they only had 6 wrestlers on the varsity squad. But
that is really surprising.
Carl Junction normally has a good wrestling program, but numbers definitely down this year for the Bulldogs.
And trying to work into a reversal here. He's got a pretty good position now. His legs kind of hung up, but gets that hooked. He ought to get it. And does, and has his wing and a wrist. So
he gets 2 more points, and it's now 6 to nothing lead for Ian Meyer.
The wing and a wrist and kind of where he wants to be. It's a pretty good position for him.
And he gets him turned, and there's still a minute to go. So a lot of time left in this one, and Ian Meyer has got Quentin Crow in a tight spot. And he gets the fall.
He finishes pretty good when he gets kids on their back.
So a pair of falls for Ian Meyer tonight, 2 wins for him. And that extends Monett's lead to 40 to 6 over the Bulldogs. It'll go to 46 to 6 after the forfeit to Bryce Logan. We'll see. Looks like Villalta. What are they going to do here? Angel Villalta wrestled at 220 earlier. And it looks like that's what they're going to do.
Now maybe he's going to bump up.
Now maybe he's going to go up to heavyweight. Yeah, because Zeke Wall definitely a heavyweight.
So I guess it's double forfeit at 220 then.
So no points awarded there, and we move up to heavyweight. So it's 46-6, Monett leading as we wrestle at 285. Angel Villalta going up against Zeke Wall. Wall won by forfeit earlier tonight. Nobody matched up against him against Rogersville. Villalta wrestled at 220 against Rogersville. And the Wildcats moved their 220 wrestler up to 285. So Villalta got a win by forfeit. So this is the first competition these two wrestlers are seeing here tonight. Both winning by forfeit over the Wildcats.
And Angel just recently cut to 220, but his match is going to happen at 285 tonight. So.
Yeah, that's how things happen sometimes.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things I was talking with Coach Bradley getting ready for tonight. He was hoping Angel could get down and get certified at 220, which he did, and then he finds himself back up wrestling heavyweight.
Back up wrestling heavyweight, yeah.
Halfway through the first period. Still no points up on the board.
Both guys kind of had some opportunities here, but neither of them was able to capitalize on it. "37 seconds, get a restart back in the middle." Angel's probably a little tired here. So he worked pretty hard this week to get down there and get 220. So the hardest part's always getting down there. You know, once you get there, maintaining a lot easier than getting there. So he's probably going to be a little tired in this match. And been sitting around here all evening, not getting to wrestle, you know, and so.
Yeah, I saw he was one of the guys we were talking earlier as Cubs wrestlers are trying to stay loose. He was one of the guys working the jump rope, just trying to keep things going. But going up against Zeke Wall here, 10 seconds left to go in the first period. No points on the board yet. And he's given up some size to Wall as well. So
yeah, Wall's a pretty big kid. I don't know, football, I think they list him at like 245 or 255. So
first period comes to a close. 0-0 our score. Get ready for the second period here at 285.
Wall defers and Angel takes down. So it's a good opportunity for him to come out here in a hurry and get an escape and get a score. Take the lead in the match. Good stand up. Didn't quite get there. Good stand up though. Go back and restart again. Nice little stand up again by Angel.
Getting real close to an escape, but Wall's able to take him back to the mat.
Angel landed on his shoulder there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you could see he does wear a support on that right shoulder, and that's the one he came down on, and Zeke Wall gets a win by pin, which makes the lead for the Cubs shrink just a little bit, 46-12. And then we've got two open weights at 06, so no points there. But then 113, Barrientos will get the win by forfeit. And that will give us our final score of 52-12. The Cubs picking up the win. So a pair of dual victories for Monett here tonight. They improved to 6-1 now in dual competition. Their next dual matchup will be next Thursday at home against Seneca. But they've got the Branson tournament coming up this weekend. They'll see a lot of great action down there at Branson. And activities to get started around 9 o'clock on Saturday morning down in Branson. We'll try to get a word with Coach Bradley. We thought it was going to be a rather quick evening here tonight with CJ having a short roster, but it ended up being a fairly drawn-out evening.
Yeah, it did.
And a lengthy evening between the Cubs, the Wildcats, and the Bulldogs here from Carl Junction. We do appreciate you being with us here tonight on Monett Web TV. And again, we'll try to get a quick word with Coach Bradley before they pack up and get out of here. But the Cubs, 2 more dual wins, an impressive victory over Rogersville, 71-6, with 9 pins and a tech fall in amongst their victories. And then, of course, a lot of forfeits for CJ in the next one. But the Cubs do pick up 3 wins, and they do pick up the victory over Carl Junction, 52-12. Carl Junction short roster, but they've performed well tonight as they pick up 2 wins, actually 3 wins against the Cubs, and pick up 4 wins against Rogersville.
Yeah, they didn't have many, but the kids that you got there wrestled pretty well and did all right.
Everyone trying to break down equipment here. We'll mention our sponsors that help with our coverage once again, as hopefully we can get a word with Coach Bradley before we pack up and hit the road here tonight. I can get back to my sheet. I've got too many papers all stacked up here, all in the same place. I'm going to start folding through, and I know it's in here somewhere if I can get to it. Coach Bradley's still working, though, down on the floor at the moment, so there we go. Coast to Coast, Bruner Pharmacy, Cox Health Monett, Huffmaster Insurance, First State Bank, the Bayou Restaurant, Tyson Foods Incorporated, Randall Click Shelter Insurance, Jack Henry and Associates, Monett Rental and Sales, Monett Cubs Athletic Booster Club, Community National Bank, Mays Automotive Group, Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks, and Race Brothers Farm and Home Supply, supporting our coverage of Monett High School athletics here tonight. Cubs on the road taking on Carl Junction and Rogersville, and they pick up a pair of wins here this evening. And again, now 6-1 in dual competition. Victories tonight for Monett over Rogersville coming from Joel Barrientos, Angel Rabadon, Sean Jastel, Onis Howard, Brody Crawford, Jordan Withnell, Desmond Hill, Garrett Bradley, Jordan Henson, Ian Meyer, Bryce Logan, and Trevor Pruitt. And in the match against Carl Junction, of course, a short roster for the Bulldogs, so not many competed matches, but the Cubs get victories from Sean Jastel, Brody Crawford, and Ian Meyer, and they take both sides of this dual competition here tonight. Coach Bradley making his way up here in the bleachers.
Should I go here?
Yeah, I was going to say, we kind of maneuver things around here a little bit. Got to get you in the shot, you know. So, well, a very impressive win tonight to get things started over Rogersville, 71-6, 9 pins, a tech fall, and every one of the matches that the Cubs competed, the only open category was 106, but you win every other one. Get a win by forfeit as well there at 220, but a very nice win to get things started over Rogersville.
I didn't expect that, but you know, Raj is a little down. The thing that I was most impressed with our guys and we didn't wrestle down to their level. I mean, right now there's some struggling programs, and they'll be back, but we wrestled with a lot of intensity, and I thought we moved really good, took care of business, and you know, got better tonight, even though, you know, they're a little down, but we didn't give them any reason to smile tonight, so about anything. So
Cubs had a really nice trend tonight too, getting out in front early, and we talked about that last time. Getting those early points up on the board is important, and the Cubs were able to do that again tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we always want to score first and to set the tone of the match, and kids did a really good job tonight. I mean, physically, you know, we were better. And it's good to, you know, get that early lead and not give any of those guys any confidence. I mean, because we were the physically better, you know, more aggressive team. So it's always good to get ahead and to build upon leads and to finish strong. And I felt we did that tonight.
And against Rogersville as well, there was a couple of times where things turned against you. But just like that, your kids were able to regroup, get things turned back around, and a couple of those matches looked like Rogersville was trying to get some momentum swung their way, and the next thing you know, the Cubs wrestler got a pin, and it was over. Yeah,
I mean, you know, you got Angel Rabadon. He kind of started fast, and then, you know, the Rogersville kid, you know, got some, you know, 120. That's the first match he's been down there at, and, you know, let the guy back in it. That kid had a lot of momentum pushing in overtime. We ended up getting the takedown to win it, and then, you know, Trevor Pruitt getting down big time there at heavyweight and getting a big varsity win. That may have been his first varsity win. So against their 220-pounder who bumped up. You know, they didn't want to wrestle Angel, so they thought they could beat us at heavyweight and kind of shoved that in their face. So, I was happy to see Trevor, get the W tonight.
Yeah, that was one of the matches where, the points were against him, but boy, once he got things rolling his direction, he was able to finish it quickly.
He just took advantage of his opportunities his opponent gave him, and that's what we ask of our kids. I mean, be ready for the situation, and he's practiced on those positions. He knows what to do, and he just finished him off. So that's what we expect out of him.
You go to the match against Carl Junction. Of course, they have a very short roster, only 6 varsity wrestlers. The Cubs do pick up 3 wins, though, and you win 52-12. Sean Jastel, Brody Crawford, and Ian Meyer all getting victories, and all 3 of those wrestlers double victories tonight.
Yeah, a victory over the Tyler Church kid. He won the CJ tournament earlier, I think at 132 pounds. So he's kind of slumped here lately, but Sean getting a victory there is a good win. He made it look easy. And then, of course, Ian and, who was our other one?
Brody.
Man, Brody.
He put up a lot of points tonight.
Well, Brody got a little out of position there and let the guy kind of in the match a little bit, but, he was in control the whole time. I mean, he got his weight. He's still getting used to the weight right there and staying at 38. He got a little heavy after the national championship game on Monday, so I think maybe too many chicken wings. I don't know, but he really had to work the last couple of days to get it down, and got down. You could tell he was a little fatigued tonight, but as you could see, I mean, he's a fireball. He's going to really help us out, and he's a tough wrestler and gutted one out, and you need those kind of victories every now and then. I like being on the winning side of that instead of, because we've had some of those go the other way. But, Brody toughed it out, and he needed those. And then Ian looked good tonight. Good to see him back from an injury from last week and to see him bounce back, and he did a really good job. So, but, in the losses we had, I mean, Angel Robidon first time in the lineup at 20. He's been at 26 all year, wrestling, holding Hughes. Hughes is a tough kid. He's been wrestling forever.
Yes.
I mean, my young son's wrestled him several times, and we know Holden. We know he's a legger. We knew what he was going to do coming in. But Angel's got to just move a little bit more on bottom and score. He can hang with anybody, but we got to figure out a way to beat some of these good kids, And then, Jordan Withnell, 4-0 loss. It's just, he's a freshman wrestling older kids, But we got to figure out a way to get him to score on the mat as well, But those are kids that we expect to get wins out of, And then Angel, we bumped him up. He made 220 tonight, which was good. Wanted him to get a match. We put him in there against, Zeke Wall. He was a tough kid, and I'm not sure how much motivation he had there, but Angel will be fine. He's going to be really solid at 220 for us, and that's where we plan on him being the rest of the year. So we're excited about that. I mean, I think from top to bottom, we got some tools there that we can use. I think we're going to be fine with the lineup we got right now. So.
Yeah, Gary and I talked about that. Angel, he worked so hard to get his weight, and then, of course, things kind of turns against him tonight. Rogersville, like you said, bumped the kid up, and then, of course, just to get him some action tonight, you had to end up bumping him up. But.
Right. And, that's the way it goes, But, now we're not going to be against those guys pushing us around. We're going to be doing a little more pushing now, which is good. More of a weight class he should be at. So, it's exciting. It's kind of nice to see how this is coming together, and the kids are really working hard and pushing each other and coming together. So it's really nice to see us have a lot of success tonight. I know that's probably just a handful of matches we lost tonight, which is good.
Yes.
JV as well. So
2 more dual wins tonight. You're 6-1 in duels now. Yeah, your JV 7-4 tonight.
7-4. So I'm really happy with some of their individual efforts. I mean, Dalton Grant looked really good, wrestled hard, and Francisco Reed, got behind in the match and went out there and hit a snake on his opponent, got the pin. I just like some of the attitudes that we got going on out there with the boys, So I don't know. It's right now it's been fun, really a lot of fun.
Well, you back at it on Saturday, the Branson tournament. What are some of the teams that's going to be down there at Branson?
I got Neosho, number 1. I mean, they're number 1 in Class 3, and then Seneca's number 1 in Class 1. So those are 2 quality teams and really good. They're good from top to bottom. So we've seen Seneca, so it's the first time we'll see Neosho. So they're there, and of course, the Bransons, the Ozarks. I think, I know Lee Summit's there, Smith Cotton. There's some other out-of-state teams as well. 16 teams. St. Genevieve's down. So it's a tough tournament. We got our hands full, so it'll be a good challenge for us to see where we're at. And I know I look forward to it every year. It's just a good, tough competition for us, and if we got some kids in that top 5, I mean, that's saying something, you know. So that's what we're aiming for. And it's just one step at a time. It's just, but you know, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, busy time right now. Back-to-back tournaments with the Monett tournament last weekend. Your double duel here tonight, then Branson coming up this Saturday, and then you get a little bit of a break, and then next Thursday that annual match with the Seneca Indians, and you got them at your place. So that's next time we'll see you is next Thursday.
Well, I hope you know, I know we're going to be ready for them, but they're good from top to bottom. We're going to have to wrestle our best wrestling and to go out there and make it competitive. You know, that's what it's got to be. Because if we don't go out there ready to compete, it could be a long night for us. But I think we match up well with them at some weights we don't. But I'm looking forward to the challenge. I know the kids are, you know, and so we'll see them for senior nights. Hopefully, we can get our seniors out with a win against the #1 team in Class 1.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time here as always. Congratulations on the pair of dual wins tonight. Good luck this weekend at Branson. We'll see you next Thursday when you host Seneca.
Thanks, Sammy. Appreciate it.
Coach Darrell Bradley, head coach of the Cubs. They win here tonight over Carl Junction, Rogersville, 6-1 now in duels, and they head to the Branson tournament this Saturday. We'll be back with you here on the Talon Network, Monett Web TV, next Thursday when the Cubs entertain Seneca there at Monett High School. We need to get on out of here. We appreciate Daisy Calles for running the camera for us tonight. Thanks to my partner Gary Meyer for helping out with the broadcast as well. We want to thank Coach Bradley for visiting with us and helping us out with rosters, and also thanks to the athletic director here at Carl Junction, Jesse Wall, for all his hospitality in helping us with our broadcast here this evening at CJ. That's going to do it. We appreciate you joining us here tonight. We invite you to join us next Thursday when the Cubs host Seneca there at Monett. Cubs defeat Logan Rogersville 71-6. They defeat the Carl Junction Bulldogs 52-12 as they win the double duel here tonight from Carl Junction. Speaking for Gary, this is Sammy saying thanks so much for joining us and good night from Carl Junction High School.